Yep. Is it recording? Yeah. Yes, it is.
Because I haven't been here. You haven't been here. I got mine last night.
Okay, so tonight is the Wisteria, and you'll probably, as you're going for walks now, you'll probably see some gardens are starting to get their Wisteria in flower. I've got one growing at the end of the road, but it's just like a dead vine at the moment. So, and if you didn't know, they're from the legume family, which is the pea family, and they come in different colours. And I actually found that they come in yellow and red. Mm-hmm. And then you get your normal.
Wendy, the Zoomers are over here.
Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, Zoomers.
Should I put them in the same place? So
All right, and then you've got your normal violets. You can get them in pink and white. So I'll just pass these around. For some reason my computer printed 2 copies. Now, they are a really easy flower to make. I shouldn't say that, should I?
No.
As you can see, my equipment here is a cutter. This is actually a it's a tiny sweet pea cutter. All right, Alison has got some over there if you want to purchase some. You need your roller, balling tool, a knife or a scribe, and that's about it, and your colours. Okay, so first of all, I've used 28 gauge wire, and I was watching Nicholas Lodge, and he actually tapes his wire before he starts. That's a 1/4 width tape, and I only tape it right nearly to the top and then bend it over for the hook. All right, so pass that around. So the first step is actually making the little pea, or the little seed pod, or the base, all right? And for that, I'll pass that around, and I'll actually do one here. So you just get a little bit of paste.
So you're using gum paste?
Gum paste, yes. And I just do a rough estimate on the size. Now you can see with these ones here, I've started with tiny ones for the very small buds, and then built them a little bit bigger for the flowers. Oh, I forgot to mention. Wisteria can come in a vine or a tree, and that's the seed pod. From a little flower like that, that's the seed pod. So I nicked that off the vine at the end of the night.
Is that off the vine?
Yeah.
Or the tree part?
No, the vine.
It's really good in later on in the year when you go to the botanic gardens. They're all hanging off the vines. You just snap a couple of them.
Can you break the seed? Break the seed?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just make a little cone. Insert the wire, a little bit of glue at the end. Attach it to the base. Just flatten it just a wee little bit. Then with a scribe or a knife, just put it to the top of your finger, up there, and then in the centre, bend it over your finger, and then just squeeze it a little bit. All right, and then you can set that to dry. best to let them dry overnight and then tackle them the next day. Nothing worse than working on them and having the whole thing in your fingers. All right, so we'll let that dry. Yeah. The next stage is the second bud, I suppose you would say, before it flowers. So that's just a little capping around. And that's when you use this cutter here. See that one there? All squinting.
Is that the smallest of the two?
Yeah, the smaller of the two. Straight gum paste. You don't need to put anything with it. I'm going to make yellow ones. So that gum paste, I'd probably colour it just a little bit yellow. But these ones here, I just use white.
So even the purple ones, you're just adding white to start with? Maybe?
Yeah.
Can I ask what's the difference between model yeast and bumpers? Same thing.
All right, so we've got this little shape here. All right, then I put it into my veiner,
It's a poppy vein.
poppy veiner. When I'm at home doing a few, of course I put them a whole heap in here. But we're only going to do the one tonight, so peel it off. And then edge it with a ball tool about that size on the very edge. Don't give too much shape to it, all right? And then on your dried centres, just put a little dab of glue around the base. So you don't want a whole lot, so just a little dab will do you. Little dab will do you. Right, so this part here is your base. All right. I was actually watching on YouTube today and somebody was putting that at the top. So
Is it that little pointy bit?
that little pointy
It goes at the base.
that goes on the base. All right, so you just tap that in there and you might want to just wait a second till it attaches, or you can, it's a bit sticky. Right. Now, looking at all the photos, there are some wisteria, and I noticed on the white that this bit here is tight around the little bud. And then some of the purple ones are open. So I suppose it's up to you how you'd like it. All right?
Stage of flowering.
No, they're all fully open, but they're all tight. Yeah, you might even see it on one of these. All right, so that little bit like a tong, I suppose you'd say, tucks underneath the base of your
Is that little bud part?
bud.
What, going backwards, like the little mark that you made is going, so it's going backwards?
Yeah, so the mark is actually sitting, you can see it at the front. So that's basically like your next stage opening. All right. So you can either have it closed tight or opened, like that. I'll actually use that. Now the next stage is your matured flower. So you've got your piece here that sits at the base as well. All right, and some, I've got these sort of flat bending backwards, and some that I've noticed too have got a sort of an indent here. So if you imagine that being wrapped around the front and then opening up, so that's curved in there. So if you want to... Alrighty, so now we're doing this shape here. That's the circle one. All right. It's basically the same step. So in my veiner, and then just thin out the edges. Now this one's actually got the next step where you get your scribe and you actually do, I'll pass that around.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah.
The crease down the centre, you get your completed. So you'd leave, depending on how many flowers you actually want on your stem, all right, so you'd have a whole heap of them, and then you can even start them. So you get your buds, your little buds, and then you can get these that are tight. The next ones that are open a little bit.
Sort of similar how you do roses, like they grow.
Yeah, yeah. So this one here again, the back, that's your front. So your back, you just tuck in where that little tong is again down the base. Hold it for a minute. Let it sort of stick, but it's sticking to my fingers because it's sticky. Just wrap it around. Then what I do is with my right hand, or however you work, I hold the base. Like that. Just tuck it in. And then with my other hand, I'll bring it down, form the point, and just tuck it in a little bit. All right, so you've got the flower. And depending on how you want it to dry, whether you want it to dry looser or tighter to the back. All right, that's how you'd place it in your... All right, so if you want it to swing around and be silly. All right, so you can bend it over and let it dry to how you want it to bend, all right? And then leave that overnight. Dried ones here. All right, so that's the actual making of the flower. How hard is that? All right.
I might be able to do this about me, is that?
Easy. Okay. So this is the next day, you've let them all dry. Now we're going to colour them. So I've brought the Wisteria colour canary yellow, and the violet. So I'm going to colour them so they'll look like a bit like that, those ones there, okay? So they all have a little pollen position at the back here. And as Helen would say, this is the landing platform for the bees. This thing here is where the bees would land and then get in there to the pollen, and that pollinates the flower. All right, so a little bit of yellow. Okay. Sorry?
Pass it around.
Yeah, because I'll work on this one. Now, depending on what colour you want to go, all right, I would always start with the lighter colour. So this is your wisteria colour, and I always use greaseproof paper.
Because then you can shovel it back in again.
Yeah. Waste not, want not. So depending on how dark you want your flowers to go, depends on the amount of petal dust you put on them. This is wisteria. And then I'm going to bring in the violet. Right, so I concentrate on the little pod in the middle, and then just on the edges, depending on how dark you want your flower to be.
So you don't have to put alcohol on that one to get the
No.
stuff, that'll just stick like...
This is where you steam them.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yep.
We haven't got a kettle out the back, have we?
I've got a steamer too.
Just get some hot water, should be hot enough. Almost.
Oh, is that all?
Okay, so.
And what I did do on most of them as well, it's called olive green. I put a little bit at the base, just there. You can see on those,
So it's
or
almost
you'd
like
have to have a look.
calyx.
The white ones have got a little bit of olive at the base, or pistachio, I can't remember what. And then just a little bit on the sides. Okay, so that gives you a different look on the flower. So when you are dusting them, just secure the base, all right? So you're not sort of working on that one and you will break it off. So you just support it at the back.
Setting them in all the different sizes or whatever, and then find out, you can go ahead and measure them and do that.
You can have a roast start a day, you can have a sweet coffee start a
That's what I'm
day.
thinking, but I mean, how many colours do I need?
All right, so depending on how you want to colour them, so you've got your white here and the buds are just a pale pink colour.
I know,
All right.
I used to call those.
Then this one here is a pale pink, very pale pink with the dusty pink to highlight the buds. There's your wisteria and violet, and then you've got pinks as well. All right. Okay, so you can see how they're all tightly packed together. You know that? All right, so with a pointy nose, pair of pointy nose pliers, start from the bottom and bring them out. So they've actually got a slight,
So about a centimetre away from the...
it's the least, yeah. So when you do tape them, you tape them about a centimetre down from the wire.
Start at the top end and then work your way
Yeah,
down.
so you start with the buds and work your way down. Okay.
Just makes so much sense now.
Okay, so slight bend.
So they wired in 3s or 4s around?
No, you just tuck them in. Yeah.
Equal space or anything, just...
No, no.
I might be able to do this one.
I like the sound of this one. It doesn't sound too...
And then when you've actually taken them all out, then you can start twisting them and placing them and making them even. So when I actually tape them, you start at the top and work your way down, and when I get to about here, I then stick in a 20 gauge wire.
What did you start with it on though?
Just join them together. I
Oh,
don't
just
start
join
them on
together.
anything.
You
Yeah.
weren't sticking them onto a base
No, no, no.
until you got down to there?
Yeah. I mean, you can do if you want, but then again, I think you're going to get it too thick up here because you've got all these wires in here. So yeah, when I get to about here, 20 gauge wire, and I just shove it up in between the centre. If you want to make it longer, right, for a longer stem,
Can you grade the wire? Can you grade the wires so that it doesn't become too thick? So once you start, if you've got 6 there and it's becoming thick, can you know how you can make some of the wire?
nothing's.
Cut them off. Cut them off, you know, so it doesn't become too thick and too many wires.
No, well, I forgot to say, but these are only 7 centimetres, so you don't have to, they're not long at all. So they're going to finish off here anyway.
Oh, so by the time you get down,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you've got.
What I do.
That's why you've got your ply. And when you, if you want to adjust them, you work on you pull them down using that bud, right? Not
stronger.
not the petal there
Yep, yep.
in the centre there.
Because it's a bit stronger.
Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. Oh, wow. And look at it coming together. That's unreal.
I think if you put them all in one line, when you're bending them, you'll probably find that they're too symmetrical, you know, going around in circles. And if these buddies here are facing the wrong way, you can actually twist and turn those because they're dried and everything.
Yeah.
So at this stage, you could either have them just dusted, manipulate them to however, and then steam them like that, all together.
But those ones you've already steamed, but you'd steam them again?
No, once they're steamed, you don't need to steam them. The buds at the top, you can have them a little bit closer. All right, and then very carefully get in there and shape to however. And then at this stage, like down here, then you would attach a stem of leaves.
Yep.
Leaves can be 5, 7, 9, you know, however long you want them.
What leaf did you use, Wendy? What leaf cutter did you use?
Oh, it's not a leaf cutter, it's just that shaped cutter.
Is that like the water lily? Is that the one that just goes like that shape?
Yeah. But I've got a whole set of them. I bought them to do like geometric cuts on cupcakes or whatever, and they've come in handy. You know what it's like when you're looking for a particular shape and you think, oh, that'll adapt. All right. So. Okay. So that's about it.
That's all.
That's about it.
Thank you very, very much.
No problem.
I was going to give you $1, but it's not yours. Thank you very much, Wendy.
Okay,
Really
thank you.
appreciate that.